All right. Happy New Year, everybody. It's your girl Kai from Ka Intuitive, and I am joined here in this moment by a murder of crows. That's right, a murder of crows, crowing, doing their thing. They are talking and chatting like a lot. I try to look out the window to see what they were doing. I can't see them anywhere. I can just hear them, and they're all just chatter. So you may hear them. They might be picked up on my mic. I don't know. But if you do, that's for you. I really wanted to jump in and do a collective reading for the year ahead, 2026. I can't believe we're here. Excuse me. I have like a little something in my throat, but it should clear up as I continue. But please forgive me if I'm like hacking into your ear. So January 1st, 2026, I'm just going to ask a few questions and get some answers. You know, what's a fire and what's the word burn? Okay. So the decks that I'm going to be using, I actually just got back from visiting my family in Seattle, and I came across a really awesome herb shop, apothecary. It's so funny because I've actually ordered from them before, but I didn't put two and two together. I've ordered online, but then arrived at their storefront and ended up buying some gifts there. But I also purchased for myself the Herbal Astrology Pocket Oracle by Adriana Ayales, I want to say is how you pronounce her last name. And so I ended up getting that. And then I also got the Hoodoo Tarot, which I thought was sitting out here, but I think I left it actually on my couch. So, I was going to curl up and read. Sidebar, I really, really love any sort of deck that explains things, right? I want to know the lore. I want to know the background, whether it's scientific, like the herbal astrology, right? Which, I understand that astrology is a pseudoscience, but herbs are not. And so understanding plant magic and the elementals, I get that a lot from like my Native American tarot and also Sacred Path Oracle, as well as the herbal astrology pocket oracle. So I'm in my herb bag personally, a bit about me, right? Very, very, very big on plant magic. That's like my absolute favorite. I love working with plants and herbs and, spices, whether it's in my cooking, in what I'm, drinking, consuming, how I heal myself, how, supplements that I take, right? I really lean heavily on the Earth Mother to provide me with the sustenance that I truly need. And a lot of that is very like intuitively led, but I also feel through like the cards that I flip for myself, right? When I'm doing personal pulls, I get a lot of, I'll get like nudges to like, take certain things, whether I'm using my herbal tarot or not. One of the first times that I actually had a instance, and I'll say this and then get to the reading. But one of the first times that I had any sort of like pull, right, towards, herbal magic or what have you, was when I was in meditation and I just kept seeing red clover everywhere. And that's not really a typical, flower that I see a whole lot. But it just kept coming up in my mind, right? My third eye, whatever. And so it became a supplement that I started taking, right? And then evening primrose oil and dandelion root, these things kind of just appeared to me. And it's not to necessarily always be used continuously forever, right? Sometimes it's just for a season. But I really do believe that it's spirit nudging, the elementals nudging and saying like, hey, like these things will help you get through this next chapter. These things will help you, regulate while you move through this next phase, right? And it's just a really beautiful experience and process. And I just really want to give a shout out, shout out to my elementals, man. Shout out to we share this, right? It's all tap in. You can tap in anytime. This is not just mine, right? This is ours. And it's so beautiful that we get something so abundant that can just continuously provide. Like what a gift, So, shout out to my elementals, shout out to my spirit team, shout out to your spirit team. However you found me, right? I'm really grateful that you're here. And of course, like, unfortunately, I have to do the, like, kitschy stuff, but, like, subscribe, follow me on my YouTube channel, follow me here, on Substack and wherever else wherever else I've decided to upload this to. I'm not sure because I'm playing around, honey. That is what 2026 is me playing, right? So anyway, let's get into the collective reading. We have a couple questions here that I just kind of jot down during my meditation, and we'll get into it. Also, sidebar real quick too, on interruptions. You may hear my bearded dragon. His name is Sprout. He's awesome. He's super cool. But he is scratching a lot. He's what's called glass surfing, which is super annoying for anybody who has a bearded dragon, especially when you just did all the things. You fed them, you played with them, you held them, you did all the things that you're supposed to do. You put them back, and then they're like, no, I'm not ready. I don't want to be in here. So fair enough, Sprout, you're heard. But right now you got to be in there because I cannot pay attention to you and do this at the same time. Because Lord knows he is a mischievous little guy, very curious and very, very sweet. So shout out to my beardy parents. They know how it is. So if you hear any like scratching, that's what that noise is. So, all right, you guys, let's go ahead and take a deep breath. I know I need it always. Hey, air signs. Have you grounded today? It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your soul, is? All right, you guys, let's get in. First question, and I think it's a really important one. What are we releasing, right? What are we releasing for 2026? I think and feel and know from my own experience, and everybody's entitled to their own experiences. So for sure, have that. But for myself, I will speak and say that I cannot call in if I haven't let go, right? There's no way for me to continuously have space for new or fresh or rejuvenation or transformation or any of those things, right? If I have all of this kind of stagnant, stuck energy that's kind of clouding up the space. So of course, the first things that I feel that I think really believe that spirit is shown over and over again in my personal life, and probably in most, right, is that, when we are beginning on and embarking on these journeys, right, the first thing to really look at is what can we do away with? What do we not need to bring on this, on this next, trip, this next space? What is actually now it's weakening the ecosystem, if you will, that you've built, right? It's weakening it. It's adding more, and it's creating an uninhabitable space, right? It's kind of giving Four of Pentacles in that way. So what is it that we are releasing for 2026? And I'm going to go ahead and shuffle. So, if you're wearing headphones, be wary. And I'm going to start in 3, 2, 1. All right. Oh, wow, Four of Pentacles. That's so funny. Let me shuffle a little bit more. Okay, and then one more time. 3, 2, 1. I probably should have counted down the second time that I did it. I'm sorry. 3, 2, 1. All right, y'all. And it wasn't that Four of Pentacles fell out. It's just that it showed up at the bottom of the deck when I did my first shuffle. So we're going to shuffle. Spirit, great spirit, guides of mine, guides of the collective. What are we releasing for 2026? What needs to go? What's in the way? Okay. Okay. Interesting. Could we clarify? Okay. Interesting. Ooh, we've got 3 major arcana cards here. Okay, so the first thing that I'm hearing is self-doubt. And self-abandonment wants to come out, the phrase, self-abandonment, self-doubt, selling yourself short, kind of like having the ideas, knowing what to do, but then not going, right? It's like I'm seeing like somebody like all ready to go, bags are packed by the door, keys are in hand, jacket is on, scarf is wrapped around, the neck, right? Hat is on, we're ready, boots are on. And then yet there's this like hesitation, right? That's like right at that threshold of like, ooh, but it's warm in here. It's warm in here. And Spirit's like, yeah, but like you're going to be warm regardless. Because remember, you got your boots and your hat and your scarf and your gloves and your jacket. Like you have what you need. You can leave this. You don't have to stay here. So there's this maybe desire, which is totally human and totally normal, right? I do this every day of my life, when I don't want to leave my couch and deal with the public, right? Like I don't want to go to the store for what? It happens, right? Where we just are really comfortable just staying put, and it can give this illusion that we're, somehow safer, right? But in reality, we might be opening ourselves up to more harm, especially internally, right? Especially in the way that we see ourselves and the way that we measure our self-worth. So it's like kind of releasing those habits that might keep us in those stuck, rigid places, or those illusions of safety that we've built for ourselves. And it's not even that it's not safe. It's just that it becomes, 4 walls build a house, it also builds a prison, right? Like it can be this beautiful, wonderful place, but if we're not careful, it can become something that we chain ourselves to, which the Devil card is here. I don't even think I told you guys. It's the Devil card, the Empress, and the Fool in reverse, right? And it's kind of just like Spirit says, like, trust yourself, trust all the work that you've done. And not only just in 2025, but past that, right? Before that, right? It's really easy to get into the trope. I'm kind of adjusting here in the message a little bit. It's kind of easy to get in the belief that the year is done and now we're in this new thing and now it's just all new and woohoo, right? And in cases, yes, Avi, right? That is very much the case. Like we are experiencing a new year, a calendar year, right? However, that doesn't necessarily, for the woo-woos, right? That is like, yes, that's a great placeholder. That's a great way to be able to set our eyes upon something, right? Very tangible, very easy to categorize, right? Ending and beginning. It's very markable, right? We can mark it. And it helps us organize, right? It's kind of giving like packing cubes, right? Every month that we have is like a packing cube, So very weird analogy, but hopefully you're with me on that. But the reality is that like time is, forever, right? Time is infinity, right? And so like everything begets itself. Everything, it's kind of the snake biting its own tail in a way, right? It never ends. It's just ongoing, right? And so while we have these wonderful aids, these wonderful tools of the calendar and of like these celebrations, these marked celebrations that we get to come together with family, friends, people, loved ones, community, and celebrate these endings and these beginnings, right? Understand always that you yourself as a person as a part of the collective, you also have your own calendar or your own beginning and end and your own story, right? And so like perhaps you might feel like, ooh, yay, it's New Year's, but I don't really, I haven't set any intention for it yet, or I haven't sat with that yet. I haven't processed that through yet. And it's kind of like, well, maybe, yes, it's outside of you, New Year's, but maybe you're still tying up ends from 2025, because it was literally only 12 hours ago. You know what I mean? It's just very I don't know if the word's obsolete, but it's not, I guess Spirit wants, to remind you or encourage you, your team wants to remind you, encourage you that you don't, you don't have, just because the world has press play doesn't mean that you need to press play, because there may be things that you need to go back on and look at to propel yourself forward, right? Because remember, that's the question, is what are we releasing for 2026? Not what are we releasing in 2026? Not, hey, okay, it's January 1st, like boom, bam, boom, right? It's like, what are we releasing for us to be able to have this, joyish. Maybe, hey, you know what? Maybe it's joyish. Maybe it's not joyful. Maybe it's joyish. Okay. There's a lot of other things in between. Maybe that's where you're at. And I am always here to meet anybody where they're at. Right. That's just how it goes. But what do we need to release for us to have these next, for us to have all, for us to be able to hone in on whatever 2026 looks like for us, for us to get the most out of it, right? For ourselves, for our community, for, our family, for our friends, things like that. So, let's do away, let's release that self-abandonment. That's really the word that's coming through the most. And so if you want to ask yourself some questions about what are the areas in your life that you are like all packed up, ready to go, but won't step out the door, right? Like there's something in you that is that hesitation, that wall, right? That right there is the thing that needs to be pulled at and looked at. And perhaps that's the thing, right? Like it's something that happened in 2025, if we want to put it into these like really simple terms, right? It's something that happened last year, or an event, or a thought, or something that didn't go right, or just whatever, right? There may be a call here to go and revisit that experience, because perhaps there's another, there's a lesson under there. There's some medicine there for you to extract, so that you can begin to heal that place in you that tells you, you're not ready, that, it flips it and it says, okay, you know what? I don't have to be perfect. It will self-correct, right? The thing that I need to do is be in flow. The thing that is like the highest, order for me is to just take the next step, right? And trust and have faith that I'm where I'm meant to be, right? So I do want to get a little card here. Take a little moment and just ask Spirit, what is the salve here? And the salve, right? S-A-L-V-E, I believe. What is the salve to, once they find that thing, once we find that hesitation, that self-abandonment, what is the salve? Ooh. Oh, y'all, this is so beautiful. Grace and surrender. That is so beautiful, with higher consciousness at the bottom of the deck. Now I'm going to read these ones for you, because these are from my Herbal astrology oracle. I do not know how to pronounce this. It's Shisandra. Okay, maybe it wasn't that hard. So Shisandra is the herb for grace, and the passion flower is the herb for surrender. And just looking at them before I even read, first off, it's giving that Empress, right? I feel like that's where your, you do have the Empress card here anyway. Dong Quai is the herb for the Empress in this deck as well. The Herbal Tarot, not to be confused with the Herbal Astrology Oracle that I'm also using. But there is an understanding here with all, those three of the cards, the Empress, Shisandra, and Passion Flower. Those things are all kind of conjoined together. There is such a deep desire for like nourishment and nurturing and like, really, I know I'll get to the messages of these flowers and everything and the herbs in a moment, but I'm also channeling, and, I'm just seeing that baby in utero, right? And I hope that doesn't trigger anybody, but that's the imagery that's coming through, and specifically the umbilical cord, specifically that, specifically the idea, maybe it's even giving cord cutting, right? But what we consume, we become, kind of a thing. is one part of the message, right? This sometimes it's not even, we're not even aware of it. Like a baby in the womb. Baby in the womb has no say on what mom's got going on, right? What environment mom's in, what food she's putting in her body, what, if is she able to go to doctor's appointments? Is that something that's available to her? Is she able to get the care that she needs, right? Is she in a supportive space, right? Does she feel comforted? Does she feel, all these things, right? And stick with me, I'm sorry. This could be a little heavier out of nowhere, but the baby doesn't really have a say in that, right? Until it's born. And then it still doesn't have a say. It doesn't have a say for a very, very long time. And that baby that was so innocent is born into a space, let's just say, that mom, couldn't or, didn't get out of whatever environment was making her sick, whether it was in the way that she treated herself, eating food, not eating, whatever it was, like her mind monsters, the things, that were going on in her world, whether by choice or not, right? Let's say that bear with me, guys. Let's say, she has the baby and now baby is growing up in this environment. It's all the baby has ever known, right? Is chaos, confusion, disillusionment, you name it, right? It's going to become that baby's normal. And we all know this, right? That's the legacy, right? It's all passed down. So really quick sidebar, this is also giving like ancestral lineage. Maybe there's stuff going on in your maternal line that you need to kind of address or attune to, right? Or tend to, maybe is the word. But Spirit also is saying like, maybe it's literal. Maybe you're pregnant and maybe there's like a situation right now that you maybe like, whether you're choosing or not choosing, it's just circumstantial, like things happen, like trust, like I could give you stories, honey. Like I honestly, like no judgment whatsoever on me at all. Like, nah, I have none. But, maybe you're literally pregnant and you're in a situation that you shouldn't be, don't want to be in, but you feel like you don't have choices. And, it's like, sometimes that really kind of feels that way, but that's not always the case. And, there's this, I think that like this is coming through in this way for whoever, right? Whether it's a literal physical situation, or it's a metaphor, right? The reality is that whatever it is that is growing in the dark, right? This precious, innocent, gift, whatever that might be, a literal human or something else, an idea, a career, a, goal, whatever, those things require courage, they require courage. They require us, the holder, right? The womb holder, the space that is carrying this into fruition, whatever this may symbolize, right? It is completely and solely reliant on your personal ability to have boundaries, to activate your throat chakra, to, move about in a way that brings in, more harmony. And that's just the truth of it. So there is also, while we're talking about self-abandonment, there's also this conversation going on about accountability, right? And taking accountability for our lives. And Spirit always is of love and support, and that is the energy here. But like, I'm never going to dilute a message because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. Like, sometimes we just have to know, like, sometimes we just have to be told straight up. And it doesn't feel great. but it's necessary. And it's necessary. It's very Saturn, very, very Saturn energy. And we are actually under Capricorn rule right now. So that does kind of track a bit, but anyhow, I just, I know it can get really, really like a little too real sometimes. And, but that's the thing, is like, it's supposed to be, right? Like a diviner in, people that do divination, or people that read, or, see, or whatever, right? Like, it's not like fucking easy. And it's like, our job is just to say it, is to be that mouthpiece, and that nudge, being utilized as a nudge, right? But I want to, of course, say more than anything, besides the honest to God, what I'm seeing in these cards is, 100% no judgment. And I don't say this as, hey, y'all gotta act right, y'all fucking up. Because number one, like, I could tell you, like I said, I could tell you major, major stories about my own experiences in pregnancy, my own experiences with like accountability, right? My own experiences with like self-abandonment. I have that, people don't reach these spaces of like internal peace without having those things to come through. I really believe that. And so, like, be gentle always and love yourself through it, whatever that looks like. However, ensure, that is Neptune. That's the Neptune sign, because that's coming through. I want to say, ensure that you're not getting, you're not polluting yourself and stalling yourself out, because you don't want to deal with it. Numbing, like, we don't want to numb ourselves. We want to show up. And right now, the energy is shifting of, like I said, from self-abandonment to also accountability, because we can't always walk around wounded, right? We can't always walk around and say, I just, okay, let me just say this really quick, and I'll read the meanings. Let me just say this. So if my friend came to me right now, any one of my friends, it does not matter who, if they came to me right now and they told me a problem that they were having, I would listen to them. I would give them love. I would give them support. This is that maternal energy, right? That, Empress, right? They came to me for safety. They came to me for, conversation, for me to listen, what have you, right? But I'm going to tell you right now that none of my friends come to me unless they want to hear the truth, right? I've had friends in the past that have said, like, I know that if I'm not ready to hear the truth, you are the last person I'm going to be knocking on the door of, right? I am extremely Saturn ruled. That is my chart ruler. I have had my own experiences with what the fuck that looks like, and that's a doozy. It is not in my nature, and it goes against my calling and purpose to coddle. I will listen. That to me is the coddling, right? Listening, giving you even a hug, telling you it's going to be okay, because it is, right? At the end of the day, though, never will you part from me without some solution in your bag, right? Some solution. Well, okay, so now what, right? And that may be the Capricorn ruling of me, that may be just the, Aquarian in me, of that future forward. How do we move on, right? But we can't necessarily move on without sitting with it, not in it. Okay? There's a huge difference. And so if there's any sort of, I can't do this, that's where that self-abandonment's coming through. Right? So maybe it is on maybe it's not as sad and horrifying as the things that I described with like a actual pregnant person, struggling, right? If that is you, I want you to know, like, I support you. I'm here for you. If you need to talk, I can listen for sure, and give advice, because I was there, I was there. in my own way. And, abusive relationship, carrying a baby, and trying to get through that and navigate that, and having, to hear very bluntly that, me crying and saying like, I just want to be a good mother, and being told straight out, then be one, right? It's a choice. And I'm grateful for that moment, right? Every day of my life, I'm so grateful for that moment, because I realize that motherhood, and I'm sorry if this is like losing some people, but this is very specific and I feel like it needs to be said. Motherhood, I think that a lot of people have it like where they're afraid to be a parent because their parents fucked them up so bad that they feel like they're not capable, right? It's not that they don't want children, right? It's just that they're like, if I had it, I wouldn't even know what to fucking do with it, because like I'm so fucked off, like I'm a mess, whatever, right? But the reality is like, that was my thinking too, until I heard those words of, then be one, right? You want to be a good mom, then be one. And it sounds silly to most, but for me, that was profound. And why it was so profound is because I didn't realize it was a fucking choice. Up until that point, I had no idea. That was news. I didn't know you could choose to be a good parent. And I know that sounds so silly. I became a parent young, right? For starters, right? And I was not living right. And there were lots of problems, right? That I absolutely 100% was my motherfucking fault. Okay. 100%. And I guess also to sidebar, I know that we want to move on probably, but I want to share all of this because I want people to know, if you're still listening this far, and if this message is for you and it resonates with you, right? And this does not have to be about a literal baby. That's just how it's coming through. But I want to show you through my own, sharing of my own experiences that like, I truly do get it. You know what I mean? Like I truly do. And it's not coming from some upper echelon. I'm so fucking clairvoyant. Oh my God, I'm fucking God. Like, ooh, sparkly love and light shit. Like I hate it. Ugh, I'm not with that at all. I'm on the real out the mud type shit, So I share pieces of my story and myself, because that's my wounded healer, hey, I went through this shit so that maybe you don't have to, and so, please, if you're struggling, if, whatever that looks like for you, like if it resonates, speak on it, right? Let's talk about it. Let's, I can pull some more cards for you additionally, if that's what you need, right? That's what the gifts are for, right? We all just, sometimes we just need to be shaken sometimes and shaken up and told, hey, you have so much more power than you realize, right? To change your situation. You have so much in you that can do so many fucking things. You just got to make that choice, and you got to have faith in your power, and you got to be courageous above all, right? Above all, you got to be courageous enough to get the fuck up. And that's really hard. That's really fucking hard. And it's a lot harder. It's a lot easier said than done. So much easier said than done, but we're going to have it through grace and surrender. So let's read that. And then I'm going to move on to the next question. All right, y'all. So, Sashandra, yeah, girl. Hang on, let me find her. These are kind of long. So hey, okay, 111, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4 on the clock, boo. But the page is 111. Ew, and the Sasandra is a 29, which 11. Okay, so we got a lot of that going on. Okay, all right, boo. So Sashandra, grace, inner beauty, inspirations, euphoria, visions, supernatural powers, synergy. Now, really quick, because I've been chatting, yapping, doing the most. Remember, we pulled these cards to ask, what is the salve, right? What is the salve? Once we realize, where we're self-abandoning at, where we maybe need to take accountability at, what is the salve, right? So the first one is grace through Sashandra, the flower, or herb, whatever it is, and then surrender, the passion flower. So, okay, we're reading Sashandra. Okay. Ooh, I apologize if that was loud as hell. I'm so sorry. In traditional Chinese medicine, flavors are seen as energetic symbols within a plant, demonstrating its distinct healing traits. Sachandra berry contains all 5 flavors: sweet, bitter, salty, sour, and pungent, directly signaling its all-encompassing and highly medicinal nature and earning its name Wu Wei Zi or Wu Wei Zai, or 5-flavored berry. Perfectly yin-yang balanced, Sachandra nurtures all 5 elements: wood, fire, earth, metal, and water, and enters all 12 energy channels or meridians of the human body. As the symbol of longevity and beauty, even suggesting the ability to attain more immortality, Sachandra is pictured often in ancient Chinese art. Considered a panacea, it increases energy, prolongs life without aging, benefits the mind, supports the eyes, acts as an anti-inflammatory, helps against radiation, protects from nervous system toxicity, cleanses heavy metal toxicity, supports adrenal function, supports the lungs, benefits sexual function, balances hormones, and protects the skin. Sachandra is ruled by Jupiter, and it has an all-encompassing longevity, enhancing, and expansive medicinal nature. The way it embraces all 5 elements, all 12 energetic channels, and all flavors provides longevity to every organ system and harmonizes all polarities, also a signature of Venus. Now here's the guidance here. Like the Temperance card in the tarot, the goddess holds a cup of water representing the subconscious as she crosses over a stream of water representing the conscious mind. Sachandra's medicine teaches us about the high alchemy of beauty, grace, and harmony of dualities. Like the medicine of Swan, Sachandra is here today to remind you of the grace within balance, patience, and moderation. You are being invited to allow life force to flow through you without force or resistance. Follow your visions and pay close attention to the subtle language in your body and surroundings. If you feel out of orbit or aloof, make time to ground. Grounding will only facilitate your development to a higher consciousness. Okay, and now let's go passion flower. And that's number 43. Passion flower, surrender. Sacrifice, surrender, choosing growth, trusting discernment, rituals of letting go. Here we go, baby. The astrological ruler for this is Neptune and Moon, and this one was, I don't remember, Venus and Jupiter. The other one, Sachandra. Passion flower, a precious botanical native to Central and South America, was named for the Passion of Christ, referring to his suffering and death by Roman Catholic priests in the 1500s. It was also called La Flor de las Cinco Llagas, or the flower of the 5 wounds. Ooh, okay, so we got another 5 here, baby. Completion, 10, it's a 10-year, 226. So lots of, if you're a numerology boo-boo, there you go. Where, I lost my place. Or the flower of 5 wounds, referring to Christ's stigmata. The 5 petals and 5 petal-like sepals of this flower represents the 10 apostles who remained faithful to Jesus throughout the Passion. The circle of hair-like rays above the petals represents Jesus' crown of thorns. Since its introduction into European herbal medicine, passion flower has been used as an antispasmodic, hypnotic, anodyne, anxiolytic, sedative, and nervous system tonic. The leaf tea became popular in North American medicine in the mid-1800s for similar use as those in South American traditions. Passion flower tranquilizes energy nerves and helps with insomnia, mood disorders, headaches, colic, migraines, menstrual cramps, diarrhea, neuralgia, eye disorders, epilepsy, and convulsions and muscle spasms and pain. To this day, passion flower is used by many shamans in floral baths to calm and cleanse the spirit. Passion flower is considered a bridge to Christ consciousness, which assists in direct communication with the mythical voice within. It was also used as an incense to alter the energy of spaces that were stressed, traumatized, or disrupted. Passion flower is ruled by the mighty powers of Neptune, the planet of spiritual realization, religious experience, the spirit world, and Maya, the great illusion. Guidance. Passion flower symbolizes surrender, sacrifice, and the crucifixion of the ego. Passion flower resembles the need to sacrifice in order to make space and move forward. The all-seeing double-headed owl symbolizes the great understanding perceived from both sides, whether it be upside down or inside out, and bestows goddess passion flower with unseen truths as she performs rituals for letting go. Owl is symbolic of discernment and able to light up what needs to be seen. Passion flower today might reflect the need to suspend actions that are not aligned to your spiritual path. Are there certain decisions or actions you've made that you must sacrifice in order to reassess your direction? Honor your intuition. It's okay if projects or original ideas come to an unexpected halt. Discernment is key to experience greater truth and opportunities. I love that. I so love that. And then there's a crow chiming in here. And I felt the need, because owl popped up, I do want to shuffle just with my Native American tarot, just about any other, any other like animal spirits, animal guides that want to come through. I can't even read this one. This is the death card. Okay, we got the death card, which is actually more on the shaman energy, that cleansing, that release. Yeah, so much cleansing, so much release. The moon came out as well. Yeah, these are all major arcana cards. All of my tarot has been, we got the death card, the moon, the fool, the empress, and the devil. Wow. And at the very bottom of the deck, the hawk. Where's my little notes here? The hawk is very good for perception, right? Like a perspective shift, getting a higher angle, a higher vantage point on a situation. So I definitely call that in for you. Let's look at the death card really quick. This tarot deck is really different than other ones that, it's very like, it's more so about it's always about the imagery, right? But it doesn't like tell you, it just, you'll find it, you'll see. So death, oh my gosh, you guys, you know what death is symbolized by in this card deck? The calendar. And what was I talking about? We were talking about the calendar. We were talking about it being being utilized, right, as packing cubes, and that the end isn't always the end, right? Just because it's January 1st, 2026, right? The end of the beginning, whatever. 3 different kinds of calendars, 3 cycles that are intertwined. A 60-year-old solar calendar, a monthly calendar, and a lunar calendar. The sun and the moon are the hands of the sky and the clocks of our lives. So I really feel so much that this is just validating the initial conversation of everything at its right time, divine timing, grace, right? Having grace with ourselves, having patience for ourselves, for our situation, surrendering outcomes, surrendering judgments, self-abandonment, right? Taking accountability, right? For our actions, for our place in life, right? But not like over accountability where we're taking it for others and the harm that others are causing, right? That's where the discernment comes in, this ability to snip, cord cut, right? Away the illusion, the thing that keeps you sick, and see ourselves clearly. 12:44 on the clock. All right, y'all, let's get the moon card too. And it's pronounced Hemblecha, which is the vision quest. The sacred pipe supplies the inner vision kindled by the moon. Its light is reflected by the lake where the salmon of knowledge swims. And King of Swords, really quick for my hawk, since that's like the only actual animal that showed up here. Oh, that does not help me. Oh, I'm so sorry. It's actually an eagle. Symbol of the Great Spirit. It alludes to the power of ascesis. Ascesis? I don't know. Ascesis. From the cosmic tree, it watches over like a remedy for all illnesses and carries the soul of the shaman immersed in ecstasy toward the sky and devours the initiate in order to return him to the world again transformed. And I feel like that's so just like everything's okay. The kids are okay. All right, you guys. So, yeah, I guess that kind of, now that I'm looking at the questions I wrote down, that kind of did cover it. The next question was like, what are we calling in? How do we align with our highest calling, right? And I do feel like that's through grace and surrender right now. But you know what? Let's go ahead and pull some cards on that, right? Like, let's say we got through it. We made it through the wilderness, and let's say, like, then what, right? Once we've applied that grace, that surrender, once we've had that, that time to discern, to sit, to ground, I think that there's going to be a lot of answers here too a lot of questions with that will be answered through grounding. Because I did talk about that at the very beginning as well. At the very beginning of this, I was talking about, especially for air signs, right? The need to ground out and center our energy, right? Before acting, before moving. Let's get a couple more oracle cards, about, like what are we calling in / like, how do we align with our highest selves? How do we align with our highest calling, spirit? Okay, we got this. Oh, that looks very intense here. Let me clear. Okay, that is, wow, completion. Okay, transfiguration popped out, and then completion is at the bottom of the deck. The Dragon Sacha is what it is. It's what the plant is. There's an eclipse in the background. I'm really keying in on that. And I believe there is a solar eclipse coming up in solar eclipse new moon, I want to say, or something. Let me look at my calendar really quick. I have it sitting right here. I want to say February 15th, but don't quote me, baby. Let's see, not that. So yes, no, it's not on the 15th, it's on the 17th, Lunar New Year. And it's a solar eclipse on the Lunar New Year. February 17th. And that is what this is giving. So I don't know, setting intention there, setting intention for, well, let's read it, shall we? Whatever that brings up, whatever it is that you clear up, like that's, through that grounding, through that meditation process, through getting real, getting honest with yourself, and like making actions that feed, your healing, grace, surrender, right? And the balance of those two things. I think that by, the new moon, in February, is it? Yeah, that's the new moon, right? I'm so sorry, y'all. I just want to make sure. Is it the new moon or the full moon, yo? Yeah, it's the new moon, I think. Anyway. The, whatever those illusions are, whatever those things that kind of keep you stuck or what have you, right? It'll be crumbled down, and then perhaps that's when your true new year starts. Like, I mean, maybe it's the lunar new year. And you know what? Yeah, it's taking me back to that final card that we talked about the death card. It was the death card that came through, right? From the American Tarot, the Native American Tarot. And it talked about calendar, lunar cycle, lunar new year, or lunar years, right? Like the way that we measure time, right? And so maybe that's the true new year for you, for us, whatever, for your newfound understanding, your fire, right? There is the Mars is coming through on this card, very much so. It's literally depicted with fire and flames everywhere. It's the 2-2. It's the 20. It's the 22nd, not the 22nd. I keep wanting to say that 22. The word I'm looking for is 22. It's the 22nd card in this deck. And its numbers, energetic number is 22. So also maybe we're looking at February 22nd, right? Maybe that's a time where you're, journaling, or you're, speaking with the divine, or you're, I don't know what it looks like, I know that for myself, I'll be in my bag, right? For sure. I'll be in some sort of energetic bag by then. But yeah, so let's go ahead and read these Jurgon Sacha. I've never even heard of it. Oh, I thought I turned to it. I did not. Okay, here we go. The word is transfiguration. Unforeseen change, breakdown, transfiguration, poison transmuted, evil neutralized, rising from the ashes. Wow, you guys. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this February new moon, that 2/17, honey, 2/17, save the date. Okay, and then report back. Let me know. Jurgen Sacha, it's ruled by Mars and Pluto, sorry. Jurgon Sacha, or Hergon Sacha, I'm not sure, is a signature plant, as its indigenous uses directly mirror its appearance. Oh my gosh, that's that 2-2, that 2-2-2, all that. Wow, so cool. Anyway, obviously they did that on purpose. Anyway, whatever. Its mottled coloring calls to mind a poisonous snake native to the Amazon, and local villages use the starchy root as an antivenom. In Peru and Ecuador, the snake and plant are both called Hergon, Sacha, or fertilans. Oh, the fertilans. Ooh, yeah, they're intense. In Brazil, the snake is named Jararaca, and the plant Urva jararaca, which translates to snake herb. I apologize. I want to get these right, but I just got this deck and I'm very, very new, very, very green. In the Amazon, the bloody resin of this plant is used in many rituals of protection against all spiritual sicknesses, bile rage, hexes, evil eye, evil wind, and envy, and protection against brujos malvados, black magic sorcerers. Considered a neutralizer of the highest order, Hergon Sacha converts any intended harm or intense evil into benevolent energy. Indigenous tribes in the Guyana have employed it as an antidote for stingray wounds, spider bites, and poison dart/arrow wounds. Other indigenous cultures believe that beating the legs and feet with the leaves of Hergon Sacha acts as a snake repellent. In addition to being an antivenom, the powdered tuber is used as an antiviral for asthma, lung inflammation, whooping cough, parasites, and menstrual disorders. Baths of Hergon Sacha were also common for those with gout, arthritic pain, and similar imbalances. Hergon Sacha's staggering power to neutralize the strongest of known poisons and protect the body from vigorous viruses is some of the many reasons it falls under Mars's and Pluto's rulership. Both planetary bodies, like Hergon Sacha, overwhelm and activate. to transform, igniting both destruction and resurrection, literally and archetypally. Guidance. Watch your back. Hergon Sacha represents radical change and breakdown. This card can mean that someone or something is harming your energy. If this applies to you, remember that the darkest of energies that bring crisis or unforeseen changes can be transmuted into benevolence. Even the strongest of poisons can be medicine. The first step in neutralizing is recognition. The second step is removing fear and insecurity. And the third step is reconstruction of the self. Examine your life from a third-person perspective. Draw upon universal forces to transmute the environment, people, or situations that are depleting your life force. Yeah. And that's exactly what I was seeing in these cards initially, right? Spirit showing me the energy of that, the fact 12:55 on the clock, the fact that, the environment has to match what's trying to come in. If it doesn't, you can't stay there. If it doesn't, you got to heal it, dissolve it, whatever it looks like, let it go, cut it out, dig it out, love it out, whatever it is. But there's for sure an environmental, something external, right, that is going on in the collective, which we know for sure, but also in our own personal lives that is, causing this self-abandonment or kind of just allowing, it's almost like giving up, right? Like, I can't, I'm not stronger than this, right? I'm not bigger than this. It just, I did this to myself anyway, so I guess this is just the price to pay, right? That type of stuff, right? So, yeah, you guys, I feel like I want to leave it on a really loving note, maternal, right? Because that was such an energy. I'm going to move my mic really quick, so I'm sorry if it makes really annoying noises. But I do want to get a little card from the mother, Iset. People will call her Isis. I love her energy. It is so sweet and nurturing, but also very, very fierce, and she don't play about her babies. So, I do want to get a card from her really quick before I leave you, because that was actually surprisingly heavier than I thought it was going to be. I thought that we were going to just pop up and be like, yo girl, kindness, what we're doing. But it was yeah, actually, you're in a really fucking shitty situation. It's not funny. It's not funny at all. But it's accountability. That's what we're on. That's the word of the day, the word of the month, word of the year, whatever you want to say, word of the moment. Accountability, honey. Just taking accountability for the things that really do belong to us, right? So, ooh. Wow, we got snake energy, very much so. So maybe some kundalini stuff you got to work on. Maybe there's some trigger warning, but some sexual stuff going on, right? We might need to heal that. Maybe even seeing a therapist, seeking out counseling, seeking out help, right? Safe spaces, creating that safe space for yourself. If it can't be maybe you're a kid, maybe you're a minor, or maybe you're living at home. You can't necessarily just up and leave, right? Right? It's okay, well, what can we do? What can we do realistically that's going to be for the highest good of yourself and putting you back on track or on a track, right? That feels good and right and, supportive. So the portal of light, serpent of fire. Can we get one more, mama? One more. Oh, okay. Okay, and it fell. Give me a second. Okay, you guys. Look at that rising sun at the bottom of the deck, which is the divine solar child reborn. I feel like and it's literally her cradling a baby, which is so powerful imagery right now. These cards are gorgeous. The serpent of fire, she's holding this gorgeous cobra. She's super powerful, and it's about community, right? It's about her, the community, whatever that looks like, and those things being supportive, non-conforming is the word that wants to come through. Unrelenting, unmoving, unmovable, a protective wall, right? And that's a good thing. Then we have portal of light, which is depicted by her reaching out, right? And she's reaching out, and I really do feel energetically like that is the maternal energy. Maybe it's your ancestors, things like that, that are really like just, it's spirit reaching out and like saying like, grab my hand and trust, right? Oh, and then divine destiny, path of the divine warrior, which she has a hawk flying in onto her arm that she's putting out there. Okay, so I'm going to just read the brief synopsis because I've been reading a lot, and I know that that's probably the hardest thing to listen to. If you were an ADD baby like me, I'd be like ping-ponging, like, yo, get to the guidance. This is Pillar of Light that I turned to. Oh, okay, hold on. We got a lot going on here. Portal of Light, here we go. So I'm just going to read the little brief synopsis, but this is Isis Oracle, is Set Oracle by Alana Fairchild. If you want to like PDF it, you can pull up, things like if you want to like dive deeper into the meaning of the card. So Portal of Light, she glides on wings through time and space. Okay. It is only this physical reality that is bound by time and space. You are a being conscious on levels beyond the physical world. You are guided to work with your healing powers beyond the confines of time and space and to allow your sense of self to expand. It is safe for you to do this now. You will not become ungrounded through such spiritual growth. You are not leaving your earthly awareness. You are instead adding to it. Okay? And let's do Serpent, the Serpent of Fire, Priestess of the Serpent Sisterhood. Iset, Priestess of the Serpent Sisterhood, and Queen of the Serpent of Fire, guides you through transformation now as your energy field grows stronger and old energies are burned away in the process of your growth. Trust that you are growing and are more capable than you have been previously. Do not assess your current ability based on past standards, as they no longer apply to you. You are stronger and more powerful now than you have ever been before. You need to learn afresh what you are capable of, and Iset helps you now. Okay? And then the last one is Divine Destiny. Divine Destiny, spiritual work of the higher initiate, which is interesting because the card itself says Path of the Divine Warrior, but this is spiritual work of the high initiate in the book. The Divine Warrior guides you to your divine destiny. The Divine Warrior energy exists within men and women as the inner propulsion to continue with a worthy path even during times of difficulty. When faced with a challenge, a true warrior will summon more of themselves to the cause. It might be more wisdom, focus, intelligence, and surrender into the divine. Sorry, I'm going to read that one more time. When faced with a challenge, a true warrior will summon more of themselves to the cause. It might be more wisdom, focus, intelligence, and surrender into the divine. The warrior within has great inner resourcefulness and determination. This part of you will lead you to spiritual success. All right, beloved, I am sending you all of my support, all of my love. Please, 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 if you need more guidance, if you want to dig deeper, I can do a deeper dive. Absolutely. This is a very specific message, but I do want to say too, on like a brighter, level, on a brighter note, this message is for anybody. It's not just for those like really going like through these like very dark nights of the soul, which, we all go through, right? There's so much like community in that, right? We all have those times, so you're not alone. But for those that this message maybe was like, yeah, I mean, I could apply this, right? Then it's A, maybe not for you if you feel like you need to force it, or B, we're moving away from it and we're getting more into that like that triumph, that serpent of fire energy, right? Or that portal of light, right? You've already stepped through that, right? These are things that, you've moved away from, and now, you're setting intention for, that healing to continue, that light to continue to shine, the path to continue, to clear and to, be able to hone into and continue to keep your eyes on the divine and move forward, right? So yes, thank you so much for tuning in. I will definitely be uploading throughout this year. I don't know about this month, but this year for sure. You can catch me either on Substack, YouTube, and like potentially a podcast situation once I figure out how to do that. But until my next one, please stay blessed, stay healthy, stay pure, stay happy, health, like just not health, but, or happy even, because like, what even does that fucking mean? But just, don't be afraid to choose your happiness over something if it makes you uncomfortable, because it really does, it's coming across that there's a lot of like raw stuff to be addressed still, a lot, things that kind of hurt. So if you need to take some time away from the family and the friends and the parties and the gatherings and the sugars and the treats and the whatever, and you need to like really, sit in your bathtub and cry, do that. Listen to your body, and really truly grounding, I think, is going to be so beneficial to anyone listening to this, whether the message resonated or not. Grounding, breath work, those things are going to really stoke that clarity for you. So I really do believe that. So sending my love and support, and I will catch you on my next one. Bye.